O foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? So they had a problem, and it sounds like something similar to what Adam and Eve had when they were bewitched as well, that you should not obey the truth. Paul may be difficult to understand, but some of the things that he says are very clear. And here's one of them, that you should not obey the truth. In other words, they were not obeying the truth. Paul is saying you should obey the truth. So there are 2 points here. First of all, there's truth. And second of all, you've got to obey. So people who think once you're saved, you can do anything, once saved, always saved, that's not what Paul's saying here. There's obedience involved even when and after you've already received the promises of eternal inheritance. There's still obedience involved. And we're going to see what obedience we're talking about here. So that you should not obey the truth, talking about these bewitched Galatians, before whose eyes Jesus Christ has been evidently set forth, crucified among you. This only would I learn of you. Received you the Spirit by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith? And here is now where we're going to run into this question, what are the works of the law? And that is what this chapter is going to be referring to without exactly saying what it is. If we study this properly and look at it with the right understanding, we'll be able to grasp what these works of the law are, and that's the whole point of this. And this is where it's going to also tie into the second question about what the unconverted need in order to be able to live peacefully and properly. So, did you receive the Spirit, and I'm in verse 2 here, by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith? Are you so foolish, verse 3, having begun in the Spirit, are you now made perfect by the flesh? So what he's saying is that you've received the Spirit by faith, through faith, and now you're trying to be made perfect by the flesh. In other words, by going back to these works of the law. Have you suffered so many things in vain, if it be yet in vain? He therefore that ministers to you the Spirit and works miracles among you, does he it by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith? So we've got faith on one side and works, and specifically the works of the law, or I'm just going to use another term for this without specifying for the time being exactly what this is, but the works of the law, physical practices, physically doing things, be it eating things, be it worshiping things, etc., that works, or simply by faith. Verse 6, even as Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. So you see here, this is the hearing of faith. And actually I believe in the Greek, the word for faith and the word for believed are the same word. It's the same word. Right? So Abraham, as it says here, it was accounted to him for righteousness, not because of the works. It was accounted to him for righteousness because he believed, because he had faith in what God told him and how God worked with him. Know ye therefore, verse 7, that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham. So that's the lineage, the spiritual lineage that we want to be children of Abraham. And the scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the heathen through faith, preached before the gospel to Abraham, saying, in you shall all nations be blessed. So from the very start, although God chose a nation of which Abraham is the father, the Israelites, it was always God's intention to bring all peoples into the faith. And that's basically what he's saying here, saying that in you, in Abraham, shall all nations be blessed. Right? So that's the entire world. This is what was already right from the start was God's intention.
Uncover the mystery of Adam and Eve's nakedness. Unravel the ambiguous connection between the Hebrew term for naked and the serpent's subtlety. Join us for this free mini-course and gain a profound new perspective on biblical Hebrew. TheExplanation.com/naked